Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance this morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test in the things we think, say, and do. 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, Jim Nelson has our reflection this morning. Jim.
Myself, there we go. Good morning. I just wanted to read a very short quote from Maya Angelou in honor of this is Black History Month, and I think we should acknowledge that. In the spirit of truth, we should say that Black History Month is, we often during Black History Month, we talk about the famous Black Americans, of course, Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and George Washington Carver and many others. But I think it's important during Black History Month and really 12 months out of the year to remember the millions of people of color who don't have names anymore, who we never knew, who were, whose lives were really decimated by slavery and by discrimination that continues to this day. And in the spirit of truth that we just recited, we really ought to be advocates for the truth and advocates for keeping that history in front of us against a lot of efforts on a lot of people to suppress that in our schools, which if you don't have it in the schools, where are you going to have it? So Maya Angelou said, won't it be wonderful when Black history and Native American history and Jewish history and all of US history is taught from one book, just US history.
All right. Thank you, Jim. No song today. We decided we weren't going to try to sing with the latency that we have with Zoom. So we're going to go right to introducing our guests and visiting Rotarians. Brock, do you see any guests and visiting Rotarians online?
You know, I'm recognizing all the names that I see on the attendance list, but in case I'm missing anyone, if you are a guest, please feel free to unmute and introduce yourself. I think it's just the club today.
All right, very good. Thank you, Brock. Announcements. The first big announcement is next week. Don't forget, we are meeting offsite at Junior Achievement, and the address there is 1745 University Avenue West in St. Paul. And so you'll want to make sure to get to Junior Achievement. We have made, thanks to Joyce Agnew and the foundation, we have made a big investment in Junior Achievement this year. And you aren't going to want to miss that program. It'll be a fabulous program. And if you can't make it over to Junior Achievement, we will also, of course, have our Zoom there as well. So Brock and Ross have figured out how to, well, I think they figured out how to get us connected there with Zoom over at Junior Achievement. We had a great book club meeting last night. Sorry if you are reading the book and missed it, although Bob Minish, who hadn't read the book, got a good earful of what the book was about. So it was a fun meeting last night, and we've chosen the next book, which you'll want to start reading, Secondhand Time, which talks about the true stories of the citizens in the Soviet Union at the time of the breakup of the Soviet Union. And Anna Prisakari is going to lead us in that discussion. She may try to read that book in Russian. It was published in Russian originally. So if you want to brush up your Russian skills and read it in Russian, you can do that as well. The next book club will be April 12th at 5 o'clock, and we'll probably do that by Zoom, but we're considering, we'll see where we're at with COVID by that time, if we can and how the weather is. Maybe we can do it in a somewhat outside location, or perhaps we can have an in-house gathering, but we'll for sure do it via Zoom as well. Are there any other announcements today? I see none. All right, well, we're moving right into introduction of our day chair today, and our speakers will be up.
Scott?
Yeah.
Scott, our speakers may not be on for another 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
So do we want to do some breakout sessions?
Let's do a breakout session. That'd be good.
Hey, before you start the breakouts, did you know that on the 14th was our 37th anniversary? Woohoo!
Ooh, all right. So we were formed on Valentine's Day.
That's right.
That's what I had in my calendar. Is that correct, everybody?
That's correct. That's the origin of Heart of Rotary, et cetera. It has that Valentine's theme.
No, that's
All
correct.
right.
Bam.
Very good. Well, 37 years. Congratulations, everyone.
Excellent. Well, I'll throw us here into breakout rooms, and feel free to chat amongst your tables. We got morning chat time.
Thanks, Brock. All right, I think we are back. Fun to have a breakout session. Thank you, Brock. That was a great recommendation. I hope you all had as fun a discussion as we did, talking about what we did on Valentine's Day. I'm going to move right into introducing our day chair today. Our day chair is Lisa Moncrief. Lisa has been a banker for her entire career, coming from a long line of banking family, including her dad. Engaging with business owners and executives, she develops strategic insights to help achieve their financial goals and find customized solutions to complex needs. She primarily consults on business and personal cash management, lending, and wealth management. Lisa loves the outdoors, and she, along with her partner Steve, enjoy downhill skiing in the winter, and in the summer, biking, hiking, or canoeing with an occasional brewery stop along the way. She also enjoys time with her new grandson. Rotary is a big part of her life, and she has been in the greatest Rotary club in the world, the City of Lakes Club, for 15 years. She looks forward to weekly meetings, has served on the board, and tries to engage in as many service activities as possible. It's a wonderful group of people who are looking to improve the world and communities where they live. How can you not want to be part of that? Lisa, good to have you as our day chair this morning.
Thank you, Scott. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Oh, perfect. Well, I want to thank our speakers for being here today, and I'm excited to hear their program. We have Susan Shields, who's a former owner of a successful business who wanted to pay it forward after she sold her business. Hi, Susan. Nice to meet
Morning.
you. She thought of the idea of developing a book around Black lives and social justice in the wake of George Floyd's murder. She's a baby boomer and lives in Wayzata. She was introduced to a poem written by Roshanae Ambers Winston and knew she had to be in this book. Roshanae Ambers Winston is a 20-year-old college student at the University of St. Thomas. Hi, Roshanae. From North Minneapolis, who writes poetry. So the two of you are from very different worlds, I'm sure. Together, the two women who wanted to make a difference and have partnered to produce a book which features murals from artists who turn the Lake Street area into a vibrant art gallery called Lake Street Speaks, a collection of poetry and art for social justice. Thank you.
Do I have the microphone now? Can you hear me?
We
You're good to
can.
go.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for inviting us. We have been presenting to schools over the last few months, and what Roshane and I thought we would do is just share our presentation that we present to various schools. Okay. After George Floyd's murder, feelings of anger, sadness, disappointment, and more were voiced throughout our community. During times of social unrest, people use their voices in many different ways. Some march and protest, while others use a pen and paintbrush to express their feelings. This book, can you see it? This book is a way to commemorate the spontaneously created and sadly temporary outdoor museum on the boarded up stores and outdoor walls of Lake Street. Lake Street Speak was inspired by these artistic masterpieces. My name is Susan Shields, and I have spent my whole career building a thriving textile manufacturing business. I started in my basement hand painting products, and over the next 35 years grew the business, adding factories in Minneapolis, Greenville, South Carolina, Dongguan, China, and various contractors in India, Vietnam, and Belgium, developing and producing textile products for retailers such as Target, Amazon, and Pottery Barn. After selling my share of the Airtex Group 3 years ago, my personal goals were to pay it forward by giving back to the community and helping young women turn their ideas into startup businesses. The idea for Lake Street Speak started when I walked the streets around Lake Street and surrounding neighborhoods and visited George Floyd Square. I was overwhelmed by the art and what it meant to the community and artists who were expressing their emotions with a paintbrush. I photographed over 150 murals and thought it would be meaningful to preserve this beauty in an art book that could give back to the neighborhood. Minneapolis North High School principal Maury Friedselben introduced me to Roshane Ambers Winston, a poet who grew up in North Minneapolis. After many months getting to know and trust one another, this book grew from a shutterfly project to a reality. 100% of the proceeds from the book sold are split between Poet Royalty and 5 Minneapolis BIPOC female-owned or managed nonprofits, including Appetite for Change in North Minneapolis, Migazi, which is a nonprofit in the 3rd Precinct, Rojo Collective, the Real Minneapolis and Hope Youth Center, and Memorialize the Movement. Lake Street Speaks has evolved as books are being banned from school, media, and library shelves all over our country, including state and local governments trying to pass critical race theory bans. We, as the nonprofit Lake Street Speaks, are raising funds to purchase and gift Lake Street Speak books to schools in Minneapolis, with expansion plans for St. Paul, outstate Minnesota, and ultimately the entire country. Our mission is to share our book with as many students as possible of all ages and to tell this story. By working on this project together, 2 women who are very different in age, race, and experiences learn to challenge our existing biases and preconceived notions of who we thought the other was. After many, many meetings and hard conversations, we got to know each other as people, Susan and Roshane. Today, we are 2 women who call each other friends and colleagues. We created this book together and hope it creates understanding through visual, art, and poetry, and makes a positive impact in our community. And now I'm going to introduce you to Roshane. Rashi?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Hello, my name is Roshane Ambers Winston. I was born and raised in North Minneapolis, where there are a lack of resources and opportunities. And I graduated from Hopkins High School in 2019. And I am now a junior at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota, majoring in sociology on a full ride scholarship. I was the first to graduate high school out of 9 siblings on my dad's side of the family, and I would be the first to graduate from college. At my time in high school, I was very involved. I participated in orchestra, and I was the cheer captain, but I also didn't have many friends. But I did love the education I received and the great relationships I made with my teachers. In 2016, my freshman year of high school, I lost my brother due to gun violence in my community. I remembered how no one knew the pain I was up against. I started to wear my headphones in the halls at school, and I decided to put the world on mute. Like, I just didn't want to express those emotions I was feeling. But writing had kept me going. It had gave me a chance to express my emotions, the emotions of frustration and sadness, and many more. Emotions that were so deep, I just never expressed them, but I started to through my poetry. I was first introduced to poetry in middle school. We were in class, and I was told to write an I am poem. That was like that basic format of poetry that they were like teaching us then. And after writing that first poem, I started to write during my own time. I didn't always write. Like, it was kind of like something that was random, something that wasn't always frequent for me. But when I did, it was a way of healing for me because I was able to write down my emotions, which brought me relief. Over the years, my journey in writing has grown in many ways, such as writing about the injustice of African Americans and speaking about our truth. As I continue this journey, I realized my story and my access to education gave me power and the chance to help others in ways I couldn't imagine. I'm just a person that decided to use their passions to make a difference. Although life comes with many unexpected challenges, you must continue holding on to hope. You will succeed more than you would think. Till this day, I sometimes still find college to be challenging, and I need to study all the time. But what keeps me going are my goals, which made me determined to graduate and make a difference in my life and in my community in North Minneapolis. I am more than honored to share my poetry in the book Lake Street Speaks, and getting the chance to know Susan has been an amazing journey. And we became real business partners and developed great friendships.
Okay, I have asked Roshane to read some of her poems, and we're going to try to share the screen with our photographs as she reads several poems. If I can do this. Which, I don't know if I can. Okay. Is this working?
Not yet. You need the green share screen button at the bottom of your screen.
I
Are you selecting the right desktop option? Or is it like does not let you share?
I think I am not, this is not working, but
It worked
So-
this morning. It worked this morning. We had
I
it earlier.
Does it work when it's like
Here,
spotlighted?
I got it.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
You don't see nothing though.
Okay, I am.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, we see some photos. I see like a construction. I don't know.
Okay. Let's. Can everybody? Can everybody see?
Yep.
It's not perfect, but it's the
Well,
best.
if you wanted to, there's that play from start button in the top left-hand corner. If you want to click that.
Got it. Thank you. Can you see this now?
Looks great.
Perfect. Okay, Rashne,
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm gonna just read you guys a few poems that I have wrote. I believe some are not in the book and some are on the book. And yeah, so I'm glad to be here today. Thank you for inviting me. This first poem is called This Thing Called Knowledge. This thing called knowledge, something my people don't have or should have had, I mean, could have had. But these systems that were created brought up bad. They blinded us, to winded us. Instead of giving us equal opportunities, they play mind games with us. I'm short on trust. How can I when that police is aiming that gun? They weakened us. Now we're relying on money and drugs. Look at us, our youth out here selling drugs, being the thug they wanted us to be, the American without the dream, the Republican that said, forget a team, the white man that gives us the green light opportunity. Or was it when they killed that Black boy for their opportunity? Or when they stolen our native tongue? Or stolen the lives of our divine leaders? Or the work of our people? Maybe we can work together, flip it and reverse it. But the laws, fuck them, flip it and let's win. This thing called knowledge is taken away, and now my people say it's too late. But guess what? You have power. But of course you can't see that through the black skin of pain and doubt. Left without knowing what life was really about. But guess what? It's not too late. For this power of knowledge grows and recreates, pushes and never breaks, shines and forever plays. This knowledge is so hidden. It takes encouragement and love that wasn't offered to us from the start. We were broken and now we depart. But this thing called knowledge is giving us the chance to see through the unethical truths about America. We must renew this America, move this America, this place we call America. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next one. Give me 1 second to find it. Okay. Yeah, so this one deals with a little bit about like my experiences with balancing school and in the things that's going on in my community. The study of trauma. I must study, get good grades, but someone just died down the block. I must be the good student. I need to be. But my community is sinking in oppression. I must wake up at 8 a.m. sharp and be on time for class. Sirens lash. Someone just got shot twice. A little girl just got kidnapped last night. She was Black. She was the unforgotten puzzle that strayed from inside me. That girl could have been me. Oh, shoot. I forgot to study. I forgot because I had to breathe out the fears of losing my loved ones. I must cry out the angers of this world. A world I may never understand. A world that drains out Black souls. But there's more than just a world in this life we live. It's an unimaginable place. A whiff of real. And a sweet taste of desirable peace. Thank you.
I have asked Roshni to read 3 poems, but as she's finding the next one, I want to share with you what we are doing with this book again. With the help of US Bank, we received a donation to purchase books to deliver to media centers. We are also making a video right now of our presentation so that rather than going to every school in Minnesota and beyond, we can share both the video as well as a gift of 6 books. As you probably are aware or might be aware, we have just become a nonprofit, and we are asking both individuals and corporations to purchase books for donations to schools. So we are in the process of doing that. If you would like to buy the book individually, you can go on to lakestreetspeaks.com and purchase the book through the website. After Roshni finishes her last poem, we are here to answer questions that you might have.
Okay, so making sure, okay, yeah. This one's called Lost Tree. I remember like it was yesterday. Maybe it was. Maybe it was today. The words, they've always got to me, shot to me, non-stop to me. I stopped trying. I accepted the loneliness, the cold, the wind as sorrow blown, the inner joy I purposely hold, the majestic passion I've let go. As it left the bloom tree, I decided not to hold. Maybe one day I will truly grow into the breathtaking beauty I thought never existed. I exist. Now I must grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roshni and Susan. Are there questions this morning?
Feel free to unmute yourself if you've got a question.
I have a question. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Principal coming from the Fair School for Arts. Thank you so much for what you're doing for Minneapolis Public Schools and other schools in the city. One of the questions I have is really related to how you are driving your experience to other young people, and I'm wondering how that's going for you within your own education, if you're able to spread some of this messaging through your peers as well.
I was like, can you rephrase that question again?
I can. Tell me a little bit about how you are working with your fellow students, your own peers, right, in this work.
Well, like as in like my like people I go to school with.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just came from break, and I also just went through a whole major change. It was crazy. I went from a business major to a sociology major, but I'm a business minor, and I'm just now getting introduced to a new set of students, and it's honestly a different experience. Like the students I was with in business classes are different students I'm with in my sociology classes. Like I have a class called Power and Privilege, and it's just interesting because you see the group is kind of like, it's a little more diverse, but not that much diverse, right? It's still like primarily white, but it's like all women and one white male. And then it's like in my business class, it was like all white, mostly white male, but white women as well. You know what I mean? And it's kind of just interesting to see the switch. And also, it's also the awareness are different. just knowing, understanding what's going on and the social injustices that are going on. So it's like, we're gonna start doing more work in the future together. We're honestly going to do a charities event to volunteer to help homelessness, and just being involved and doing things like that with my classmates. This is what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, so I'm just getting to a new change into classes. So I definitely am excited to do that. I also work at Cookie Cart, and that deals with helping youth get out the streets and just trying to get out there to get work experience. They do like financial literacy classes, stuff like that, just helping youth be educated and also just have something to do. Because there's not many resources like we were saying before, and things like that is what I really support. So yeah, and that's a little bit about what I do.
Thank you so much for that. And yes, I'm very familiar with Cookie Cart, which for even some of our Rotary members that don't know that, it's an incredible program for young people. And I'm so glad that you are there to mentor those that are younger than you who are coming up. So thank you for that too.
You're welcome.
And I did put a message in the chat because I would love to have you come to my school.
Oh yes. You talking about FAIR?
Yes.
My mom worked there 1 year. My mom worked for Minneapolis Public Schools for like 30 years. But she usually like at Lucy Laney. I don't know if you know that elementary school, but yeah, so I've been there before. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, I would love to.
All right. All right. Reach out. Thank you.
Any more questions?
If I may, thank you very much, by the way, for this wonderful presentation. It's very, very moving. The art, apart from the poetry for the moment, the art, was that all no longer with us except for what you managed to capture on film that you put in the book?
That's a really interesting question. A lot of it has disappeared, but Memorialize the Movement, which is a recent organization. Well, it's a one-person African-American woman who started collecting the art. And her goal is to raise enough money to somehow present the art both in exhibitions and ultimately a museum. I think she has about 250 pieces of art, but much of the art was done on buildings, so that just disappeared. What was saved were the art that was painted on boards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
The other thing I think that's interesting is before we published the book, we tried to reach out to every single artist we could find, which was very difficult because many of them are off the grid and we had to find them on Instagram. I think we were able to connect to about 85% of the artists and get permission to use their art.
Okay, wonderful. Because there are a number of us on the call who have been involved with volunteer efforts along Lake Street, trying to help bring things back forward. And it seems to me that, one of the challenges right now is appearances, and art, of course, as well as spoken art, might be a part of that, the revival. And of course, we need COVID to end, and we need people to feel free to move around. But you from what your experience and yours too, Roshan, you see the spoken arts as being a part of that large picture of bringing back areas like Lake Street that were damaged?
And also with respect to poetry, I noticed in several Lake Street shops, sort of poster-sized poetry, usually a quatrain, just 4 lines, not long poems, but something that a passerby could easily read.
Yeah.
About the uprising and all the civil unrest, as we politely call it. Are you associated at all with that? I went home and tried to Google the source of some of that, and I was not successful. Have you worked with any of the people who've put up some of those posters with other poetry? I don't know if these are poets known in the Lake Street community, or Roshane, people like you who are just beginning poets and therefore their names aren't well known. But I was very impressed because the lines that I saw were they conveyed emotion very strongly. Are you familiar at all with those posters?
I'm not familiar with the posters, but it do sounds really interesting. Honestly, like I'm still getting out there with meeting other poets and stuff like that. I'm thinking about joining this nonprofit that actually supports bringing Black poets together, and so I like just learning other poets and just trying to meet other writers because I always been writing, but I just got myself out as a poet last year. I just started to use the talent for a purpose, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, I really do look forward to like learning more and getting into learning about that because that just sounds really interesting.
Lisa Moncrief has a question.
Hi, I'm excited to get this book. So if you could let us know also where we get it, is it off your website?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
It's on the Lake Street Speaks website. I did put my website on there if you're interested in looking at more of my poems, but I can attach that website where you can get the book.
Okay, great. Also, I love the way you spoke about using poetry as a, way to be able to express your very deep felt emotions. And I'm so sorry about your brother. So is that something that you see in your career as, kind of you teaching others to write, as a sociologist? I guess I'm just wondering, what your long-term career options are.
That's a good question. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you like kind of like my goals I kind of want. So I'm majoring in sociology because I feel like it was more what I was interested in. I was big on wanting to make change. I feel like I'm tired of feeling powerless and not having a voice. So I'm really big on just trying to shoot for what's right. I honestly feel like no one should be treated wrong due to color, skin, none of that, and we do live in a world where we do need to do something different, like with the laws and stuff that's from past bad decisions. Like it's up to us as people in the future to make it better for our youth. But yeah, I'm trying to remember what the question was. I lost myself.
Oh, sorry. It was around, using artistic expression to help people through their emotional pain.
I majored in sociology. So I do want to one day make a nonprofit to help youth in my community. And that was kind of like my big time goals. Like I'm using poetry as it's like a secondary career. I feel like one day I want to make another book and stuff, but then also my nonprofit, I wanted to include like helping youth with like school stuff and teaching African American history. And also I did think about a writing workshop, something like that, where they're able to express themselves in words, because sometimes they don't get the chance to really do that. Sometimes it's hard to have the space. Sometimes it's hard to have like the time, even like even knowing it exists, So I thought about, so that is something I have thought about doing within like my nonprofit I want to one day create.
Right.
David.
Thank you. The arts are a wonderful way for people to heal and to get in touch with a much bigger view. And I want to congratulate both of you for helping our city heal and remembering, celebrating, jumping into all of those feelings and emotions. And there's something about poetry and about art that takes us there. And I am very grateful that you brought this to us. And I have a feeling you're going to get a lot of support and help, not just from our Rotary Club, but from the greater community. Thank you.
You know, Minneapolis has been getting a really bad rap lately nationally. And what we see was the beauty that arose from this tragedy. And if we can expand on that in Minneapolis and share the poetry, share the artwork, share it on the streets, the way it was shared right after George Floyd, somebody has to turn it around, and this might help.
Any other questions? Well, Roshana and Susan, thank you so much. What a fantastic program today. We really do appreciate your being here with us. And we look forward to your many successes, and I'm looking forward to visiting the website. So thank you so much. We do appreciate your being here. I also want to thank Jim Nelson for his reflection today, Lisa Moncrief, who is our day chair, and our Zoom master extraordinaire, Brock Ray. Thank you. Don't forget, next week we have an offsite at Junior Achievement. And it's again 1745 University Avenue West. Jim Nelson noted in the comments, watch where you park when you go to Junior Achievement to make sure that you aren't parking in a place where parking is banned. Last time we were there, some of us got tickets. So don't forget that, but there's plenty of parking there. They in fact have a parking lot behind Junior Achievement, but just make sure you don't park in a non-parking spot as marked on the street. All right, thank you all for being with us today. There is also, by the way, a vocational committee meeting. Those of you who are on vocational committee got the invite, so you can join that at 8:30 following the meeting. You all have a great Rotary week.